Hare Krishna devotees, so all ready, all set to start with your 13th chapter tomorrow. So today what we are going to do is the 12th chapter, which is the last of the Bhakti Yoga. So what are we going to read in our chapter 12, right? So before that, a quick recap on chapter 11, right? What did we do? We saw Virat Rupa, Vishwarupa of Krishna, and we also saw some very interesting things where Arjuna wanted to see his four-handed form and two-handed form, right? So we had a virtual darshan of Krishna in various forms, right? So chapter 12 is going to open up with the fact that which is the right thing, because that's the form of Krishna, a personal form, but there is also impersonal form, right? So we have the Brahman realization, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we will explore today, right, which is the right one, and best way of finding is to ask Krishna himself, right? So let's see how the chapter goes. And before that, let's start off with Mangala Charan. Right. So Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Amnyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopishu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Rande Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Mancha Kalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patidana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All clear, audible, right?
Krishna.
Start. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So what is the 12th chapter called, right? We already saw between 7 to 12, which is the second module. The middle part is called the Bhakti Yoga, right? And it's Guyam, which means the most confidential, right? So it's like anything which is very confidential, we keep it safe, right? So that's why Krishna has sandwiched it in between. So now let's see what is this all about, right? So what is Bhakti Yoga? Devotional service, right? And we did a quick check on 11th chapter. We saw, right? Arjuna requests Krishna to show his universal form. And why did he request? It is not just for checking on Krishna, nor does he have doubt, because he already surrendered in the 10th chapter itself, right? Param Brahma Parandamam Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. Then why is this chapter 11 coming? It's because for a lot of atheists and also for people who try and tell that they are the, they are God. So, if anyone comes, you can always tell them, hey, okay, show Virat Rupa, if not, at least show the 400 form, right? So he wants to set precedents, right, for the future. And also for us, right? We would also want to see. And then, he also admits that he's scared and he wants to see the 400 form. And after seeing the 400 form, he wants Krishna back in his usual form. And he does apologize to Krishna for having been very friendly and probably committed mistakes in the name of a friend or knowingly, unknowingly, right? Because he would have just treated him as just a normal person. And then, after that, what is the way in which you can reach Krishna? We've seen the path is Bhakti, which is Ananya Bhakti, which means pure Bhakti is the only answer for reaching Krishna. Now, what is this 12th chapter talking about? It's a very small chapter and it talks about bhakti over impersonalism. What is impersonalism? Krishna is a person, right? We have 3 levels of realization of Krishna. The starting is the what's called the Brahman realization, right? It's a beginning, very basic, right? We say sun means what? The light rise. That's how we start. The next one, right? We progress further, which is the Paramatma realization, which is a localized feature, right? Somebody will tell sun, okay, no, that's a disk, right? That's a level, second level. And what is actually sun? Somebody who's understood and done research will tell, no, it's a planet. That's where Surya Dev lives and all that, right? So likewise, what we will tell, we will also tell that the whole thing, right? So the person, Krishna as a person, right? Supreme person is what is the ultimate level of realization. So that is what we are going to see in this chapter, right? And 12.8 to 12.12, we'll see progressive stages of devotion. That is from the highest, how we can progress. And finally, we are going to quickly have a glimpse of what are the qualities to want to reach Krishna, right? So, and what all dear, what really makes Krishna feel very dear about his devotees, hopefully us. Hare Krishna. So 12.1. Arjuna Vacha Evam Satatayuktaye Bhaktastvam Paryupashate Ye Chapi Aksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect, those who are properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So he's very clearly asking. So when you have a doubt, it's best to find out, right? So if you know your friend, you're buying a dress for a friend, you may give a surprise. Probably you already know the color, but if you don't know, you can always ask when you're confused, what would you prefer? You know, would you prefer a blue or a red, right? So likewise, you know, Krishna, Arjuna, see, everything in Bhagavad Gita starts with Arjuna's inquiry, right? So is this chapter. So he's starting what is very perfect, you know, those who are properly engaged in devotional service, or you know, someone has to worship the impersonal Brahman, because we believe in both, right? So what is the right thing is what he is saying. So see, is it this the light, or is it the person? So now for y'all, I want to ask you the question before Krishna answers, which do you think is more powerful? Hare Krishna. Which one do you think is the right thing? Obviously both are Krishna, so it's going to be powerful, but which is which do you think is the highest level of water realization? Chat is open, you can unmute and also say. Hare Krishna. There is no right answer. There is no negative marks. We are not in a school. Please go ahead before Krishna says. What is your feeling? You can unmute, I guess, right? Yeah. So you want to hear? Okay. So I've got somebody messaging. Both. Okay. True. Both are there, but which is the highest? So that's why I said highest. Which is great. I never asked. I said highest, greatest between the two. You know, is the light factor or the person? Which one can you relate? Right? So now before Krishna says, I want to, if I ask you a question, right, how many lights and how many bulbs you have in your house, right, you won't be able to explain. You may give a ballpark figure, and most of the time that number may also not be accurate, right? And even if you buy the most beautiful chandelier, how long can you talk about the chandelier? You tell, I have a beautiful chandelier, I bought it here, maybe 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, right? You can't go on. But about the person, you can go on, right? You can tell, you know, like for instance, your daughter, or your son, right? You can tell, oh, I have a daughter, she's so pretty. My son, oh, he's so strong. He's so, you know, he's into this, he plays this, he's so intelligent, she's so helpful. You can go on and on, right? You can just go on. There is no end to it. So that is why, and not only that, our parents are persons. Now, I see a lot of them behind the camera. I see Rekha, I see Jayashree. Can I say she's just energy because she's turned off the camera? So can I say that there is no person, it's just energy? Or can you say that the person, if I turn off my camera, you know, I'm just an energy speaking? No, right? So more than the energy which is speaking, you can relate to me as a person. Do you agree? Right? So the energetic, which is me by itself, is stronger than the energy which is coming in the form of voice, right? Though both belong to me, the energetic, which is the owner, right? Same way Krishna is the energetic, and light is the energy. And you can relate to the person, because first and foremost, your parents, you all know, are person. Their parents are person. Everybody are person. And if we are all originated from Krishna, then Krishna has to be a person, right? So everywhere, you know, it says that Krishna is a person. And that's what we're going to see here as well. Hear what Krishna has to say, right? Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Vesha Mano Yema Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddaya Parayo Petas Tame Yukta Tamamataha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect.
So he
The
is
supreme person. Sorry.
yeah, it's the
Hare
same thing.
Krishna.
It's the same thing, both. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Oh.
What is he saying? He says that he is a person, so he's declared. So the deity here on the right side, can anyone guess what deity is this? Please don't tell me it's Krishna. We all know it's Krishna. What I meant is from which part? Yeah, thank you, devotee Radhika here. Yes, Krishna as God we love. So now, which deity, which which ISKCON temple is this deity from? Can anyone guess? So this is
Bangalore.
sorry.
Bangalore.
No.
Mayapur?
Mayapur, perfect. Who said Mayapur?
Jayashree.
Perfect. This is Mayapur. This is the biggest deity. Usually, whenever I've been here. Last month, I was so lucky. I would say, because I wanted to really do Mayapur. And what was very tempting is, normally any place we go, we do a lot of, at least a bit of research, right? We see the photos, we see the area. And wherever you go, and whenever I've traveled, I've always felt the photos are far better than the reality. But Mayapur is one place where I felt the cameras could not even catch 1% of what I could catch. So beautiful, so fascinating, and I don't usually get so excited with anything, especially the deities and all. I tell what I feel. And this particular deity was so beautiful, so I just don't have words. And whatever we saw on camera, we have Mangalarti in the morning and all. It is just 0.1% of what actuality is, right? So that's the beauty. So this is the Mayapur, and Krishna has told personal form of mind, right? So he has given the answer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed, and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons, engaged in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, very cutely, unmanifested. What conceivable, it's not mobile, it's so fixed. The impersonal conception, that is of the absolute truth. Absolute means Krishna. We already saw Krishna. So what is so basically what are they saying is equally disposed to everyone, that is available to everyone, but such person of Krishna, because they are not believing in devatas, they are not working into any other worship. They believe in devata, but the fact is that since they don't accept the the personal form, they operate in Vaikuntha or in Goloka Vrindavan. Krishna. By practicing yoga, people try to stop the mind from thinking, but it is impossible. The goal of life is not to become unconscious, but to become super conscious, isn't it? Should we become unconscious? No. We want to become conscious. We really want to become super conscious because we need to. What is perfection of life? What is the goal of life? Our perfection of life means trying to understand oneself. Understanding oneself, self-realization. Understanding oneself means not what food I like, but actually who am I, right? So realization of the self, right? Who am I is the actual thing. So let's move on. 12.5. Hare Krishna. Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkam dehavaddir avapyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Hare Krishna.
So beautiful, right? So he's saying that for those who are attached to be unmanifested, right? That is, for the impersonal feature. Unmanifested, what you can't see. So basically, the light is what you're talking about. And that feature, right? Advancement is very troublesome. Krishna is telling this. It's not anybody's belief, right? So many people think, oh, energy is powerful. This is powerful. No, very clearly, energetic is always powerful because that's generating, right? Even if you're talking about electricity, which comes, the central circuit becomes more powerful, right? Because that's a supply giver. So that's the same thing. To make progress, it is difficult. It's not impossible. It is difficult, but it is very troublesome, right? That's what he said in the previous verse. At last they come to me, right? So what does 6 and 7 have to say? Hare Krishna. Yetu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha yenaiva yogena mamye. Hare Krishna. Tesam aham amudartha mrityu samsara sagara bhavami nata maya veshitas chetasam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Partha, for him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death.
Hare Krishna. So what is happening is he's telling very clearly, right? For those who worship me, doing all his activities. Now, see, we have to move on, like who karmani. That means somebody who's working, right? So he is now going to tell how can you come out of this, this samsara saga. That means that how can you get out of this, this ocean where we are struggling, right? Of this birth and death, we want to get. So he's just giving answers. So the best answer he's saying is somebody who's giving up all the activities and devoted to me without deviation, right? Unalloyed, ananya bhakti, right? Is surely going to come to me, right? How? He's a swift deliverer, right? He's going to come. It's like the express delivery, right? So he's going to have a clear delivery. How? Because Krishna is stretching his hand and the person is already holding the hand. So all Krishna has to do is pull the person, right? He's just waiting for the time so that the person, he can just pull and take him. That's all. What is this bird out here called?
Garuda.
Garuda, perfect. Confident as well. You can tell confidently, yes, it's Garuda. So now he is talking about, right? Now it's talking about all the bhaktis, right? How you can come. Hare Krishna. Mayeva mana adashtva mayi buddham niveshaya nivashishyasi mayeva ata urdvam na samshaya. Ananya bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Hare Krishna.
What is he telling? He is telling that engage all your intelligence in me, right? You please put all your intelligence in me and you will live in me, right? So eventually what he is telling, you have to focus on me, right? That is what is Ananya Bhakti. We already saw, right? Always think of me, engage your intelligence, everything, buddhi on me, and you will always live in me, right? Because he always said to the level you surrender, so will I, right? So that is how he's telling. Now, can you see this picture here? Can you say who are these boys?
Gopals.
Sorry?
Gopals of, Gwala friends, of Krishna.
Yeah, all are Gopas of Krishna. And this is his routine, right? Early morning, they get up, they get ready, they pack their box, and they come, and what they do is they go and, herd all their cows and all of them, and they sit together and they all have food, right? Together, and they share the food, and, they are so happy, right? So they are not having any anxiety, they're just having so much fun, right? There is a story of Brahma, which I'll get back to you all. So this is what it is. So we'll move on to 12.9. Hare Krishna. Atta chittam samadhatum na saknosi mahi stiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichaptum dhananjaya. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain to me. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So beautiful. Now he is telling that Arjuna, Arjuna is also called Dhananjaya or winner of wealth, because when they do all this yagas, yagnas, they need a lot of money, right? So Arjuna used to go around to various kingdoms to collect all a part of his kingdom, but he used to travel, place to place, and he's always been very successful in collecting wealth. I mean, Arjuna has always been successful, we all know. So he's here. So that's why Krishna glorifies him by calling him Dhananjaya. So he's telling, okay, Arjuna, if you cannot fix your mind on me, which is going to be difficult, I understand, then just follow the regulated principles. So you know very well what are the regulated principles. Does anyone know what the regulated principles are? And regulated principles also have life, right? It's not just like principles. They are all Krishna, right? So they are living regulated principles. So what are the 4 regulated principles?
ABCD.
Sorry?
ABCD.
Correct. No meat eating.
Association.
Yes.
No meat eating.
Association with
No
devotees.
gambling. No gambling.
Chanting Hare
Reading
Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And
Those are-
offering prasad and having Bhagwan's prasad.
Okay. So
And
basically the
distributing
4.
prasad.
Hare Krishna. So we have Prakriti and we have Mikriti. Prakriti means what we should do. That we've already chanting Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad, and Nivriti are those which we should not do. So what we should not do is no meat eating, no intoxication, right? And, basically no illicit sex and no gambling, right? So these are the 4 regulated principles. And obviously all these practices which you've been telling, right? Whatever is regulated for Bhakti Yoga. So that is what is told. So now Krishna is now telling, okay, some people tell, oh no, that might be a little difficult for me. So let's see what he says. Hare Krishna. So every time we have, now it's raining, very badly, very heavily in Chennai. So we say, okay, we are going to dry clothes in the terrace. It's not possible. We dry here, we put fans. So we have plan A, plan B, maybe plan C. So now Krishna has told us plan A and B. So here he is going to talk about. So we'll see how many backup plans Krishna has. Hare Krishna. Abhyase api asarmartosi matkarma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kurvan siddham avapsyasi. Hare Krishna. So he is very
Hare
clear.
Krishna.
Yeah, please go on.
Hare Krishna. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Hare Krishna.
So he's telling, okay, fine, if you can't just work for me, Karma Yoga, right? By doing that also you can do perfection. You already saw this, right? By doing one's own work, you are more perfect rather than doing someone else's work. So Krishna is, so that is what he is repeating, right? It says, do that. Okay, you do one's work for me, right? Work for me. Hare Krishna. Yat karosi yat asnasi, yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya. Tatkurushvaman arpanam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Hare Krishna.
He's clearly telling, whatever you eat, prasadam, first offer to me and give away. Whatever you want to give away, charities, right? Whatever charities you do, whatever you do, right? So he's telling, whatever you do, just do it as an offering for me, right? So you, that's all you need to do. You don't have to do, extraordinary. Nobody's telling you to sacrifice something, but just do it as an offering. That's more than enough, is what he is saying. Hare Krishna. So now plan C, we saw now plan B, see how many plans he's giving. If you can't do this, you can't do that. So he's on and on. Now what is he telling in 12.11? Hare Krishna. Tadapi asaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritah sarva karma pala tyagam tata kuru yatatmavan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to act, giving up all results of your work, and try to be self-situated. Hare Krishna.
What is he telling? He's telling that if if you can't act like this, right? At least give up the results, right? That is Neshkama Karma Yoga. We already said if you can't work for me, then do whichever work you like. That's fine. But then at least the results, Palam, right? Palam Tyagam, just give it to me, right? So that is what is Neshkama Karma. Yeah, we already Neshkama Karma Yoga, which means the results, right? You give it to me. At least that you can do. That will be the starting stage of bhakti. Right? So he's just trying to calm down as much as possible. So can you see what is the scene on the right? Can you just tell me what scene, the picture?
Baby Krishna.
Celebration of Krishna's birth.
Yeah, that's right. Baby Krishna, but celebrating Krishna Janmashtami. And what is he doing is, by celebrating, he is actually trying to give lot of gifts, right? So he's trying to give lot of gifts to the children, right? To all of the, not only children, to all the elders. So today is different, right? Birthday means we get gifts, but those days, no, birthday means they used to give to people, they used to give charity. So that was a great practice followed, right? So in Karma Yoga also, there are two yogas. One is Neshkama Karma Yoga, which means that you give all the fruits, right? If there is a plant, you will put a plant of your choice, right? Let's say you are putting a mango plant because I like mango. But the difference is in Neshkama Karma Yoga, you will give everything to Krishna, what he's telling, fruits, and you'll keep two for yourself. And there's something called Sakama Karma, where you can't do that. You give him two fruits, right? Rest you keep, but at least give him two, right? You'll at least remember Krishna in your mind. So he is just progressing both, right? So now 12.12, let's hear what he says. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radhika Mataji, what is in 12.11? What is self-situated? That I did not understand. If you could
What is
explain. Self-situated. Self-situated.
Word. Okay. See how, if you're not able to do in this conscious, then try to act giving up all the results of your work. Self-situation means understand where you are, right? So instead of thinking about the results, see what happens. Let me just give you an example. I explained this, maybe if you want that particular word. First he's telling us to give. So for example, I am there. Every time you think I factor, right? This is my fruit. This is my, this is my chocolate. This is my thing. This is my thing. Instead of thinking that way, you do, that's what I do. Anyway, do a job. You can't do work for Krishna. If you see here, if you see, he is doing work for Krishna. Can you see this? He's working in the temple of Krishna. So first one he's telling us Ananya Bhakti, right? Extreme Bhakti you're focusing on. Second one he's talking about Sadhana Bhakti, because he's just telling that fix your mind. Do all your sadhanas, right? Automatically, this is like automatic. Ananya Bhakti. Naturally, they didn't. Gopis never had a forced Bhakti, right? It was natural. Right? So it's called automatic Raganuga Bhakti, or by default they had this Bhakti. But otherwise, you do sadhana, you do practice, right? Your whatever we do, we get up, do Mangalarti. That will, but we are doing it fixed, right? All the time. Or you work for me, right? Build in a temple, food, or teach, all this, But if you can't do that also, right? So this is where, everything, all your work and your activity, you completely give. Nishkama Karma Yoga, you completely surrender. If you can't do that, at least, what you do, you try and give up all the results, right? And try to be self-situated, means very clearly, think self always doesn't mean, see, the one thing which I want to tell is self, we are thinking of myself. Okay, but in Bhagavad Gita, self is used even for Krishna. So he's telling, think around Krishna. Do you understand? Krishna, do you understand now? Around Krishna, think of him and be about him. So self here refers to not me. It talks about Krishna. So that is what I keep, right? So,
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sorry. So, think of him, right? So that way you can start thinking about him. So he's just giving various options and possibilities, how you can think of him, literally, right? So that is what he's saying. So we'll move on. Hare Krishna. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Teyo hi jnanam abhyasaj jnanadhyanam vyashishyate dhyanat karma pala tyagas tyaga chantir anantaram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action, for by For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Hare Krishna.
So he's telling various flags again. So he's saying if you cannot do this practice also, then engage yourself in cultivation of knowledge, right? You can increase your knowledge, right? So that is what is there, right? It's written jnana. You can at least do that. If you can't do activity, but at least cultivate knowledge, which is what we are doing. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, we are doing Bhagavatam, right? Now you may say, am I doing practices in breaks? No, we are doing Bhakti Yoga in large. And all these are subdivisions, right? It's taken care. But he's telling if you can't do anything, do at least jnana, learn. See, better than knowledge is, meditation. So sorry. Better than knowledge is meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits. That is, we already saw, right? Results we will be renunciating, right? So that is what he's saying. So better than that is renunciation of the fruits. So, and by doing that, one can actually attain peace of mind, right? It's a way in which you can reach the final destination. That is, you first have Shanti, right? We already saw, right? When you Bhoktaram, Yagna, Tapasya, Sarva, Loka, Maheshwaram, right? Sukridam, do you remember sixth chapter? We said, right? So by thinking he's a supreme proprietor and he's a controller of everyone and we are the parts of him and he's the best friend and well-wisher, right? We saw, and Shantim Rachate. That means that is the best peace formula. So same thing he's telling here. He's telling that by doing that, you will attain your peace, right? At least. So better than knowledge is meditation. Better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits. But for renunciation, by doing such a renunciation, that is karma palan tyaga, by renunciating not the work, but the fruits of the activity. Example, Arjuna. Should he renunciate and run away from the war? No. That's what he's telling. That's how the whole Gita is spoken. He's saying, don't run away, don't renunciate work, but the fruits, the results, renunciate that will lead here. So, does anyone know the story of this little Krishna of ours with so many fruits he's trying to cog up, which he's not able to hold with his little hands, and the fruit selling lady? Does anyone know the story? Hare Krishna? You all know the story? Please go ahead and say. Hare Krishna.
There is a lady who sells fruits, and
Yes.
Krishna wants to buy it. So he comes and asks her, and she gives as much as he wants. He takes it and comes and gives a handful of rice to her, which when she takes it home becomes diamonds and emeralds and all kind of gems.
Yeah.
Which she's surprised.
Very nice. Thank you so much. So basically, it is like Krishna hardly has anything to give. So he gives actually very little, whatever he has in his hand, to her. And normally when children give, and as if, that's the only thing he has, which is what it is appearing, she also accepts it and in return gives so many fruits, right? Because as a small kid, she won't know, right, what he is given. So as if he's given so much, she just loads him. And as it is, all that becomes completely jewels, right? So that is what it is. So even little we do to him, he returns because he doesn't like to keep indebted. So he returns so much. So that is his speciality. So that is what he's saying. So what is already told, jnana and above, jnana and above dhyana is jnana. Hare Krishna, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, when Krishna gives the rice to her, she sees that lines in his hand, in his palm, and she understands. And whenever, whatever the gems and all, she takes it on that basket, she takes it on her head, and when she moves, then she feels it heavy, and then she puts it down, she sees so many gems, and then she throws it off in the sea, saying that, Krishna, is it the return for my bhakti? I don't need, I want Ananya Bhakti.
See, that's a very nice point. She got it, right? So she's got, see, that's what the devotees don't need all this. They don't really need money, right? So as I told, there was a devotee in the youth section. She was asking me, what is it can I get? What do I benefit? What do I get? I keep praying to Krishna, but I don't get. But Krishna is not our order supplier, right? We should slowly develop. That is why we are aiming. Today we are doing sadhana. If you are really a pure devotee, we don't need to do it. But we are not even a devotee. We are pure devotee, right? So we have to keep doing sadhana to get there. So that is what Krishna is saying. Hare Krishna. So we'll move on what Krishna is saying more. 12.13 to 14. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One who is not envious, but who is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor, who is free from false ego and equal both in happiness and distress, who is always satisfied and engaged in devotional service with determination and whose mind and intelligence are in agreement with me, he is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So clearly, this is, you remember this one? So he says when Krishna Arjuna is not able to tolerate in the second chapter, 14 shloka. Matra spastastu kaunteya, sitoshna sukha dukkadaha, agama paino anitya, stamstiga shashvat bharata. What does he mean? Tamstiga shashvat bharata, you have to tolerate, he's telling. What you should tolerate? Right? Like just like how women in the scorching heat cook and how men in the freezing cold also take bath, right? In the morning. So likewise, he says you have to tolerate. So like that, he was talking in the second chapter from 55th shloka till the end about Sitadir Muni, who's also called Dira, who's also called Mahabhavata. So you call various names, Uttamadhikari, all these means the same. So he's saying, what does he do? He does not react to happiness or sadness. He's satisfied, right? His mind and intelligence are just fixed on me. Like he's the one who's dear. Because now on he should tell who's dear, right? He's told what all you can do. Now he started telling we're all dear. So we'll see now. He starts off. Hare Krishna. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. He for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anxiety, who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clearly telling for someone who's not put in any anxiety, right? Because he's not going to be disturbed with anything. So he's someone who nothing is going to shake. So he's mentioning that again and again. So that is the speciality of Krishna, right? And one second. Yeah. So that is what he's talking about. Constantly, he is someone who is not going to be disturbed at all. He is so clear. Just 1 second. Right, so such a person is someone who is having unalloyed devotion, and he is so clear, and he is someone where Krishna loves him, right? So that is what he's trying to. So everything here is about warmth Krishna likes. So we are bringing this back. I have muted you because there's some disturbance at the back. So can you unmute yourself again before you read so that I'll screen share? So he says very clearly, who's steady in happiness and distress, right? So none of this actually affect him, right? Can you see this picture and tell what this is? Who are they? I know you'll tell Shiva Parvati, but what is the scene? Does anyone know what is the scene and who's in this flying plane?
Is this when Ram came back to Ayodhya and Shiv came to see?
No.
No? Okay.
Because Shiva has not come to see. Shiva is only in his place. They have come in the flight. So this is the story of Chitraketu. So Chitraketu is going around to Shiva's place and he is having a look. And this is after he got realized, right? So he was a great king and he was lamenting. And that's a huge story. And then the second half of the story is he comes there and one unusual scene, where Shiva is talking about the greatness of Vishnu to everybody and Parvati is sitting, on Shiva's lap, right? So everybody here, they're not even bothered, right? Because they are so elevated and their focus is fully on Vishnu. Whereas even Chitraketu is someone who is very elevated, but for a second, he's from a material world, right? So here, if even in the current generation, you see, and this is so many years back, right? This is different yuga, forget about years. So what is happening is he's sitting on the seat, Shakti, Parvati is sitting on the lap and he just smiles, not in a very wrong sense, but then, something out of an, you're like very, you find something different, you automatically get that little hushy feeling, right? So he just does. And Shiva understood that. He understood that, Chitraketu has no hard feelings, but it's just the effect of it. But Parvati couldn't digest. How could he insult me? And immediately she curses him. And the beauty of Chitraketu is he could have actually asked for a reversal of the curse, but he doesn't, right? He has now taken the curse and he experiences that and he apologizes for what, he has caused. And he does not even go to Vishnu and ask, can you please reverse it? He says, yes, I will, but I would like to remember Vishnu is the only thing which he will wish. And that's how it happens. So that's a very big story, Chitraketu's story. It is in Bhagavatam. So when you'll have time, please find some time. In fact, when you have time, though, never will happen. If you find time, as we read, right? Krishna is time and time will expand. Kalam, right? I am Kala, he's declaring. So that is what is this story, right? So this one we already read. And 12.16.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
A devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some result, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
He's telling the devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, right? Every day, this happiness, stress, distress, right? All this is not there. He's very pure, right? And he's free from all the pains, sukha, dukkha, right? All this he's free from. And he's not result oriented. He doesn't expect, okay, Krishna, I'll do this. I need something, or I need something. No, someone who is not expecting anything is very dear to me. Example, can you see this picture? This is a picture of Sudama, where he's so poor, but he's a completely dedicated soul. He's not worried about anything except Vishnu. So that is the power. Now take another example. What is coming in next, we will see. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One who neither grasps pleasure or grief, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
So he's very clearly telling that he neither grasps, right, pleasure. That is, he's not very excited. He doesn't, when there's something, he doesn't grab it and keep. Okay, nor grieves, right? He is not crying and he is not very excited, right? Who both good or bad, he is not taking it to heart. Example, can you see the small boy Prahlad? He's being tortured by his own father, but still he is just not disturbed at all. Why? Because he is a devotee of Krishna, right? Nothing can really affect him. That is the power, because he's got that kind of devotion and he's fine. Anything happens, it's Krishna's will take care, right? That kind of a relief. Can you imagine in your life, if you have someone who will take care of your backup plan, right? Forget about backup plan, even your main plan, and there is a complete guarantee. How would it be? The person is there, he's Krishna, but just that we don't want to accept Shraddha, we don't have, right? If we have that Shraddha, then we will all be, completely relaxed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, who is always free from contamination, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and engaged in devotional service, is very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
So very clearly, we may forgive a person, but there are two levels of forgiving. One, you forgive a person, will you forget it? After many years, hey, okay, 20 years back, I forgave you, correct? Don't we say that? So, or at least we'll think, even if we don't say, right? So that is forget is very difficult. Even if we forget, will you treat the person, you will keep away from the person. Appa, vandame, vanda. Will you be able to treat the person in your usual terms like a friend? Very unlikely, right? So that is what he's saying, right? Friend and enemy. Whether, he is honored or insulted, we will immediate, and we use the word also, I'm very sensitive. I'm very reactive. I eat with salt as if others eat with sweet sugar. Everyone eats with salt only, but the way, and they take pride in telling that they have that pride. Have you seen? Right? And all of us, we all are so happy and proud of the fact that we have pride. Right? I just can't tolerate. I gave it back to him, left, right. Right? We take pride in that. As if, it's like some award which we have achieved. Right? So go back and think, right? We realize, how much we have to change. Heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame, whether we are famous or we are lost in the glory, right? Or we are lost out of the glory. Either case, we think the same. Always satisfied with whatever, right? He's someone who's very dear. Example is Amrish Maharaj. Of the 9 stages of bhakti, Amrish Maharaj was one who practiced all of them. And this is one day of Ekadasi. Does anyone know the story of Amrish Maharaj? Does anyone know the story of Amrish? Okay, so I'm going to tell the story. So Amrish Maharaj is king, and for all those who felt, is there anybody? Thanks, Rahul. Hare Krishna. So anybody who anybody who says that I don't have time, Amrish is a classic example because he's a big emperor, and there is a speciality that he actually is someone who has absolutely no time. He's completely steadfast. He's tied up with everything. And what happens with Amrish is he actually is observing Ekadasi fasting. And during Divadasi, within that period, he has to break the fast. It's a mandate, right? So you have this Durasara Muni, right? You all know he's a very tempered Muni. And many of us ask, right, okay, is this rule apply only for us? For Muni and all, what is this? Muni and all, how bad are they angry? Do they have the right to get anger? Nobody has the right to get anger, right? But they have become angry because of that. Now you know, right? Because of tapasya, they are all having that jnana. So therefore, they feel that they have that siddha powers, right? Mystic yogic powers. And therefore, they can control, that is where that anger is coming. Now, what is happening? He finishes all this and our Amrish Maharaj wants to break fast, and our Muni, right, comes and tells him, just give some time, I will go have my bath and come, and he never comes. Deliberately he delays because he wants to, he's so envious about him and his bhakti, and he comes late, and by then what is happening is others actually, he doesn't turn up only actually. So he has a panel of Brahmins and he just asks what he should do, because his fasting will go waste if he is not going to eat. And there is a culture where the guest is there, you don't eat prior to the guest. So they gave him a plan telling that have a water. Water is like not eating as well as eating. So for breaking a fast, you can use water. At the same time, when the guest is there also, you can drink water. It's not counted as food, right? So when you break the fast with food, with water, this Muni gets very angry and creates a scene that you didn't wait. And he sends this fire demon to destroy. This is one more example where Amrish makes no efforts to kill anyone, and he's willing to take any effect which happens, right? He only is thinking of Shmaran. He's only thinking of Vishnu. He doesn't call him for help. Immediately, Sudarshan Chakra is coming and chopping off this fire demon, and it doesn't stop. It chases this Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni first runs to Brahmalok and asks Brahma. And Brahma says, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't do anything because Sudarshan Chakra, I don't have power, come close to it. So he thinks, okay, Shiva is more powerful. He goes to Shiva, and Shiva says, oh my God, Vishnu has sent, so the only person who can save you is go to Vishnu. So he runs to Vishnu and says, I am so sorry, I can't do anything because Sudarshan Chakra is not in my control. Of course, he is, but then he says, why? Because he wants to teach him a lesson. And he says, okay, if you really want a solution, you just have to go to Amrish Maharaj, and maybe he's the only one who can actually reverse this. So he immediately goes and requests, and Amrish immediately prays. Such a compassionate person, right? So he's praying to Krishna, please don't, he's such an elevated devotee. Durdarasa Muni, don't kill him, So he's just requesting. And Sudarshan Chakra winds. And that is when, for all many who feel that, does Muni have the liberty to do whatever they want? No, they don't. They don't have the right to, right? But they do it, right? For which Krishna is actually cursing. Now imagine for somebody like Amrish who's telling, I don't need anything, I don't need anything, I don't need anything, what he has done. Hey, Sudarshan, stay there. This person will not ask me. Even if I forget, don't do anything. You be his bodyguard. So Krishna has put one Sudarshan Chakra next to Amrish Maharaj, right? So that is the level of love Krishna has, right? He doesn't forget any of his devotees, no matter what, right? So this is one very nice story. I hope you people enjoyed the story. You all are very silent devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, yes, thank you.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
go.
He who follows this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engages himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clearly saying he who follows this imperishable path, right? Somebody who's following this and engages himself with faith, like complete faith if he surrenders to the supreme goal. What's the supreme goal? To reach Krishna, attaining Krishna, right? Is very, very dear. He's giving the guarantee. And this is the story of Surdas. And I will tell you the story some other day, because today I think I've told over too many stories. So stay tuned. I have another PPT to share with you all. So what is the bottom line? The bottom line is very clear that Krishna in this personal beautiful form is the most beautiful thing, right? So now see this Krishna as a person, right? Always, even for us, right? If there is only an audio speaking and a video, don't you feel more enthused to see a video rather than just an audio? Yes or no? Right? Same way Krishna as a person, right? See this beautiful form of Krishna. Can anyone even think of not thinking of this form? So thinking of the form, is beauty, is paraphernalia, is everything, you can go on and on and on, right? That is the highest level of devotion. This is what Krishna is talking in this chapter 12. And he's also telling who are all dear to him. He's giving lists. And he also says how you can reach him. A, B, C, D, E, and he is going on and on, right? Such a huge list, and nobody can actually come close to Krishna, right? So that is what is the power of Krishna. And he's so considerate and so magnanimous that he's trying to give all various possible options for us to really come down, right? So nobody can really get to that level. So that is the detail. So what the only request we have is, I would share this again for you all, but there is this donation link, and I want all of you all to have a look at this. I will explain to you all in detail. There are various donations which can be given, and this is not mandatory. It's totally optional. And why is this donation link for? Is we are building a temple, right, in Mangaluru. Mangaluru does not have a temple, and it is just coming up now. And it will be really nice. I just, as I said, it's not mandatory. It is just an option. So I will be happy for you to go through, and whatever you can, right? So whatever you can, and wherever there is a possibility, I would request each one of you to donate to the extent you can, right? As I always say, there is no mandate on all this. Whatever is affordable, whatever you can do it, that level, if you can donate, that is absolutely fine. And let me just share the screen for this. Right. So basically, this is the Radhaya Govinda temple which is coming up. Remember this huge place. We've got. Can you see the one which is marked? Now this is where the temple is coming up, and this is what we did Bhumi Puja. This is Shri Radha Govinda. Right. This is the thing. And what can you sponsor? You can sponsor just one brick. The cost of that is 1,500. Obviously, 2 bricks, 3,000, and it's all multiple. And or you can actually do what you want is a square foot, right? Construction, you can do 1 square feet, which costs 5,000 rupees. You can do 10 square feet, 50,000. It's called Mandir Nirmana Seva, right? And what are the benefits? You have a life membership program which you can take. You pay 35,000. You have a lot of benefits, such as you will be entitled to receive a permanent ID card, which you can go to any ISKCON centers, not just in India, in the world. And your entire family can stay there at subsidized rates. And you can use it for 3 days a year at each center, right? And you need to do an advanced reservation, but otherwise, anywhere in the world, and it's per year at each center. And the books which you get is you get a complimentary Bhagavatam set. And special puja is done on behalf of every birthday, right? Not just, it's done for them, for the patriarch. So this is the amount which is payable and can be paid as installments. We also have something called the VIP pass for all functions, and that is called for the Dharma Karta Seva, right? And the cost is 1,08,000 and can be paid in 3 installments. It has an inbuilt free life membership. If you're a Dharma Karta, you automatically, are eligible for a free membership, which means that Srimad Bhagavatam and all that will be a part of this. And you will be given VIP passes, and you will participate in the Pratishtapana Yajna. All the big yajnas, you're going to be there. So that is the thing, and it is not just for you, and it is for generation to come. You also have for 2.7 lakhs called the Dharmadhikari, right? Dharmadhikari Seva. And you get, besides the 3 benefits I told you, you will also have your name on the wall, right? In the spiritual wall, your name will be embodied there for your future generations to see, right? It's such a good feeling. So you can go ahead. And also besides this, you have Mukhya Dharma Adhikari Seva, which includes all this, what I told, spiritual wall, you'll have your name, you'll have VIP pass, you will have your free membership, and it can be paid over, over the thing. And it's equal to, you're offering 2 cents of land to Krishna, right? For the temple, you're just, the previous one is 1 cent. Here you're offering 2 cents, which is roughly, it's exactly 871.2 square feet for the temple construction, right? So that is what you are actually doing. Now you can also offer 4 cents, which is called the Mahamukhya Dharma Adhikari, and all the, which is exactly double, which is 10,80,000. And you have the same thing, whatever we have told you, all through, including the name on the wall for your future generations to see, right? So besides this, all this, you can start off with just a 500 rupees, which is a one-time monthly seva, or a Nitya, which is Nitya Seva, flower seva, you sponsor a big, so right from 500, everybody can sponsor. You have various options. This is available. We'll share this PDF. We can have the link, or, you can pray for brick, each of them, whatever is your wish, you can go ahead, right? So it is just 500 rupees which you need to pay. And you also have Pushpa Alankar, 10,000 per month if someone wants to do, or Naivedyam, which is a food, 5,000 per month, right? For Krishna, if you want to do. You have Raj Bhoga per day, 500 rupees, or Sarva Seva, right? All this you can do for, as I said, Pushpa Alankar, which means flowers for the Krishna for entire 1 month you are sponsoring. So I just thought it's my humble request. Whatever you can, there is no mandate if it is possible. There is no rule, there is no compulsion. It is totally optional, right? So with this, I'll end or continue. Our bhakti is over, but we will continue our session from tomorrow on our last module, which is from chapter 13, right? So you can have questions till then. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.